You and Tony Stewart in the final round. To me, that's the best story of the week. Like worlds colliding, NASCAR, IndyCar. The guy was just at the Indy 500 and he's got to run a force in the final round and he comes up 7,000 short. You ran 340 back to back. Like if you can't get into that on Fox, I don't know what we got for you then.
Oh, I know. I think that's so awesome. I think that is such a great show. It was a great drag race all day long. I mean, our car was running solid. We were running, high 60, 69, 68 all day long. We hit 340, over 340 twice in the semifinals and the finals. And then to line up with Tony Stewart, there was nothing more exciting about that. This team was pumped for it. I remember when we pulled up there looking into the stands and just the stands were packed at New England Dragway. And to know that Tony Stewart was in the lane next to us, pretty awesome.
Yeah, really, well, great stories. And we're all trying to grow the sport and the big, like, what is the future for the TV contract? And can this sport continue to grow? And with stories like that, plus JR winning funny car, I think Greg and Erica in the final round of Pro Stock, I think we proved it this weekend. And it was packed. Like, how are you even moving around in the pits? I didn't even go out there because it was too crowded.
It was. There were a lot of fans. It was definitely packed. And something I mentioned earlier, actually, I mentioned it all weekend long, is something about New England. The fans they're one of my favorite group of fans. We go all over the country, and the fans in New England, Epping, New Hampshire, are some of the nicest fans I've ever met. I shared this a little. I am a memento person. I hang on to things. Little kid drew me this. It was on race day. He gave it to me and I said, this will be my good luck charm. So hopefully we get the win. But I hang on to these things. Our girl in the staging lane, Sarah, wrote this up for me. And they're just special things that I hang on to. Takes me back to that track, that moment, what we accomplished that day. But I do want to say thank you to the fans for, hanging out all weekend, supporting NHRA Drag Racing and cheering us on.
Dealing with the weather. That was the tough thing. I didn't think Saturday, like a lot of people didn't think Saturday was even going to happen from jump. And we somehow got a full day in.
Yeah, I was surprised about that too. Coming into, New England in the past, we've had to finish up in Bristol. We couldn't get the full race in. And we're always worried of rain. And then they said, the rain's coming. And we did a full weekend of racing. We got all the runs in we needed. And it was awesome.
It really was. It really was such a great track. I know some people, car counts, getting there is a challenge, but everything that's worth having is challenging. And the fans they love drag racing. I want to say they love it more than anybody else because Maple Grove is tough and there's a lot of really great races out there, but they really appreciate us going there. Friday night, the Lobster, you took some extra special time. You didn't win the Lobster, but it was a fun promotion. Those things are creepy. I'll be honest. That's just too much. But you got up close and personal with the Lobster.
Yes, I did. So when we got to the end of the track, was that Friday? Did you say it was Friday?
Yes.
So Friday night, and it's just an added bonus. It adds, something that makes, this weekend unique, having those lobsters down there, that lobster chair, the crates. It makes for a fun setup and something that really takes you back to, you remember that race because of that. So to be able to get out on the top end, they said, do you want to hold the Lobster? And my first concern, because all drag races are superstitious, I'm very superstitious. I'm like, is this going to jinx me? Because I didn't win the opportunity to hold the Lobster and I really don't want to throw myself off. I'm very superstitious about things like that. And they said, no, we're done for the day. We're getting ready to load them up. Do you want to hold them? And I said, sure, I'll hold a Lobster. And I don't know what I was thinking, but when they pulled that thing out of that bucket and it was way bigger than I imagined, I instantly freaked out. It creeped me out. If I would have had gloves on, I would have been fine. Picked it up all day long, no problems. But it definitely creeped me out. And I'm like, okay, suck it up. I grabbed onto the thing, called two of my crew guys that were in the car. They jumped out of the tow car and we all got a picture with the big Lobster. I posted it on my Instagram. And again, it's just a fun moment, be able to have that. It didn't jinx us. It worked to our favor. So we ended up 4 wins on race day, turned on 4 win lights and got the job done.
Yeah, it's just a fun thing. First of all, like we analyzed the session and it wasn't that great of a session, right? Like people getting down and laying down the big performances that we would ultimately go on to see on Sunday. But because of the weirdness of the Lobster, like, I don't know if you got to see Austin Prock deal with it, but he was a comedy show.
I
dealing
did
with the Lobster.
He was yes, we were hearing it. We were listening in the tow car, and just he's one of the funniest people I know. And it just naturally comes out of him, the things that fly out of his mouth. He is funny. And then the photos I think were even better. Seeing the expression on his face when he's sitting there holding this lobster. And the guy that handed it to us said the same thing to Austin. In case the tape comes undone, be careful of those claws. And my first thought was, well, what do you mean the tape's going to come? Isn't the tape on there for a reason to protect us? And now you're saying that, it may come off. So you could see that expression on his face in those photos, but it just makes for a fun weekend.
Whatever can make it more fun, added bonus. It was not a big deal. It was a tiny thing, but it just made it unique to New England.